Hey everybody, and welcome to another electric van man review. This time we have got the Ford E-Transit Custom Trend model. This is the entry level model, and that is why this vehicle is incredibly important to the van sector. This is the working man's version of the Ford E-Transit. The entry level is the Trend model. You can get a leader diesel model which is lower spec and more basic, but this is the one that everybody will be buying in the future. This is the one that will be the majority of the sales for this vehicle, which is why it is incredibly important for our sector. Electrification of the Transit Custom with over 300,000 units in the last 11 years, and for the last 4 years the biggest selling van in the UK market. We need to get under the skin of this vehicle and see whether it's fit for purpose for a job in your business. So if information on vans, electric vans in particular, is important to you, then please like, subscribe, follow the channel. It helps me, and also it helps get these vehicles on the map. Like and subscribe. Thanks guys. The look and feel of the Ford E-Transit is really nice. I love these big headlight LED clusters, the daytime running lights. It's got the coast-to-coast light bar that runs across the middle, which is unique to the electric version, as is this lovely grille. It sets the vehicle apart from its plug-in hybrid and diesel versions. So as you'll know if you're a regular on the channel, we always look at the practicality first. We'll leave the electric stuff till later. So we're going to look at the load capacities, the vehicle dimensions, and whether it's fit for purpose in your business. So welcome to the load area. Now this press vehicle came with said big box inside. There's not much weight in it, in fact there's no weight at all in it, but it sort of gives you an impression that you can get a pallet in between the wheel arches. That's important for you. Now of course it's got tie-down points here, which are nicely exemplified with this this cargo net, for want of a better description, and the load area will accommodate up to 5.8 cubic meters on this L1 H1 version. If you want a bit more space, you can go to the L2 version, and that will give you 6.8 cubic meters, an extra 400 mil on the overall length of the vehicle. The vehicle comes in at 5 meters or just over, and in terms of load length, you should be able to get an 8x4 board, although it'll be a bit tight at the back doors. And also we've got a through load system, so let's show you that. So before I show you the load through system, I will say that these lash down points, I'd like to see some in the floor. They're good here, but they're better, I think, in the floor. Although in this instance with this cargo net, does tend to work quite well. Now of course the load through system, which is there and just with magnets hooks itself up there, but then you don't have a flat surface. So it's a little bit not quite perfect. I would like to see it go all the way through into the cab, and I'd like to see it without this lip, but it's a way of extending that length for you and allowing you to put in longer wood or piping or anything like that. Another thing I've noticed is that as you open up this load through system, your knuckles get caught on this element here. Now that for me is going to be really annoying on a very cold day. So here at the back of the van, it is instantly identifiable as an electric one because of a big E and a big blue stripe. That identifies, along with, of course, the green element of the registration plate. I love these light clusters, and I like the design element there. They're nicely up high out of the way as well, which makes for lower repair bills if you get those rear end shunts. Also we've got a different style of hinge, which I'll talk about in a second, and of course the parking sensors and the rear view camera. As you open the vehicle, you realize that there are electric sensors in the handle that allow you to operate this quite simply and effectively. There's also an electric release on this door as well. So as I said, we've got these friction hinges on the doors, which mean that we don't need these straps that we're so used to. It does hold the door nicely in place and also allows it easily to go round to the 180 without the need to adjust that. They're very well held in place, it's nice and strong, and even though it's quite a windy day, the doors are both perfectly in place. It's also worth pointing out that Ford have made the wise move of moving to LED lights. This really brightens the whole rear area and will make accessing your bits and pieces very much easier. A few key facts for us here at the back of the van. First of all, this vehicle can tow 2,300 kilos. Now that's important because many electric vehicles of old couldn't tow. This very little compromise against their diesel counterpart at 2,800 kilos. In terms of payload, the diesel will carry 1,350 kilos, whereas this is 1,050 kilos. Although you do get a little bit more on the L2 version because it goes to a 340 instead of a 320. In between the wheel arches, you've got 1,392mm, which gives plenty of room for your pallets, as you can see behind me. This will go in either way between the wheel arches. We've also got 1,400mm, and when the doors are out of the way, you've got nice clear access. I like the access here because there is very little getting in the way of getting stuff in and getting stuff out of the back of this van. So by now you will have worked out whether or not this vehicle will carry what you need to carry, do what you need it to do in terms of a practicality sense. What are the compromises against the diesel? Pretty much none, except a little bit of payload. So if you really need all of that payload, then you do need to reconsider as to whether or not this will be able to swap out for your diesel Transit Custom. But there are alternatives on the market with more payload, so do consider all your options before making your choice. Now, in terms of driver assistance systems for safety purposes, you've got a number of things. You've got the usual parking sensors across the front. There is also a camera up there in the windscreen which will aid with lane assist and other things like that, giving you emergency braking assistance and things like that. There's also adaptive cruise control, which means the sensors in the front of the vehicle, probably that camera, that are picking up the distance between you and the vehicle in front. So lots going on here at the front, and also here at the back with the parking sensors in the bumper, and also a rear view camera, which I think should be bloomin' law on every van ever. The reason I'm such a fan of reversing cameras in vans is because it gives you a great view behind and allows you to drive much more confidently in reverse. So the Ford e-Transit Custom comes with a 65 kilowatt hour usable battery. The battery itself is bigger. They build in a buffer to protect the battery because if you fully drain the battery, that can cause damage. So they put buffers both at the top and the bottom. Now, in terms of charging speed, that is of course all important for being out and about and making sure that you have got the work time that you need. DC charging is the rapid charging that you use in the public. This has up to 125 kilowatt DC charging. That will give you a 10 to 80% charge in around 39 minutes. But really what you want is a volt and a bolt. That means that you just put in enough to get you to your home destination, where the vehicle rests. Hopefully that's where you can put a charge point on your wall at your home, or you know you've got a regular charger that you can use at your workplace or another location that is local to your home. So get you home. 7 kilowatt AC or 11 kilowatt AC as well if you have 3-phase, usually workplace depot kind of charging available. So these little buttons here light up when the vehicle's charging, and each one equals 20% of total charge. So when they're all lit up and they're all not flashing, it's full. You also need to press the button to release the charge point if you are plugged in, and that gives you the picture of everything you need to know. So before we head off and give this vehicle a drive, it's worth noting that the battery and all of that good stuff will take us approximately 204 of your WLTP miles, and that's worldwide harmonized life cycle testing procedure. That's a mouthful, especially because the acronym doesn't add up to the words that are used. Anyway, 204 miles in real world, I've driven this in a sport variant, and it is very efficient. I'm confident that we'll get over 180 miles out of this. So as you jump back in the cab, you are greeted by quite a lot of storage space. So if I've got a clipboard and stuff, I can pop it in there. I've also got some space up there. Now the reason we've got space there is because they've moved the airbag up to the top into the roof. It gives us that extra bit of space. This one's not enclosed. That if you go higher up the spec range, it is enclosed. It's quite nice. Obviously you've got a glove box, you've got a nice little place for your phone down here, and the classic Ford door bins, which you can just about fit anything in. You know, a small weekend away would not be impossible with the door bins of this vehicle. It's important to recognise that the model that we're in is the Trend model, which is the entry level for the E-Transit Custom. Even though it is the spec up, it still doesn't come with a lovely armrest. And a couple of other things it doesn't come with as well, in terms of heated seat or heated steering wheel, things that I would have liked to have seen as standard on the entry level. Many of its competitors do have these options as standard across their range. The infotainment system is big and impressive and has lots of functionality. The only thing is you really need to spend some time learning your way around it before you get going, because it can get a little bit overpowering. Another thing that I think would have been great to see on this vehicle would have been the office. This is going to be the worker vehicle. To have that as an option at this level, for me, is slightly retrograde. But that's not to say that this isn't a comfortable place to be. And of course, you could opt for the steering wheel option, which allows you to set it as a desk or a table if you're going to have your lunch. So as I've said, you might need a university degree to use this functionality. Actually, there's a bit of an exaggeration, but one of the things that I do want to point out is the number of driver modes, because we've got normal, eco, slippery, tow and haul. So tow and haul obviously is good for when you're out and about with a trailer. Slippery, I think that's self-explanatory. When it's a bit snowy or a bit icy, you set that and it just lowers the amount of acceleration that's going to go through to those back wheels. Then you've got eco mode, where you're going to get the very best in terms of range performance. And then you've got normal, which is where you are going to get all 136 brake horsepower. And actually that can feel quite pokey, but it still seems to give you pretty good range performance. So there are many other features within this infotainment system, and you can also use the apps function to add your Apple CarPlay or Android Auto. You can also get into the settings to turn off or on some of the vehicle alert systems. I will say, vehicles these days, across whether they're diesel or petrol or electric, are making more noises. Now I will say Ford have got this bit right. It's subtle, it's adjustable, and it's pretty straightforward to switch them all off if you do need that for your own peace of mind. One piece of good news about this cab area is the cup holders. They have mastered the art of the cup holder here, with a cup holder for the driver, a cup holder for the passenger, and even a cup holder for the middle passenger too. The driving position in the seat is very comfortable. You've got good adjustment on the steering wheel, which is a slightly not wheel-shaped steering wheel. It's sort of slightly square. There must be some reason. It feels perfectly comfortable and is very good. The driving position you can adjust for both height and forward and back. It doesn't have lumbar support, but it is quite supportive. I'm missing my armrest. I do like an armrest, so one of the things that you get with the higher level of trim. But seating position, driving position, very good. Now I've talked before about the acceleration, but there are some really good points to the acceleration, because you can quickly get up to the speed that you need to cruise at to get into dual carriageways, motorways, whatever that might be. And that other element that we had was that the speed limit for a van on a dual carriageway is 60 miles an hour. and the van tells us it's 60 miles an hour. Now, there are many other brands out there at the moment that haven't quite grasped that and are still showing the standard car speed limit of 70 miles an hour, or the national speed limit, whatever it might be. But this is good from Ford, and it really helps educate everybody on a different speed limit for the van. But while we're doing the cruising along at around 60 miles an hour, you can quickly set your cruise control and away you go. Now this will monitor the distance between me and the vehicle in front, and will slow me down if I need to, because somebody is going slower than me in front of me. So that's really nice. There's lane keep assist and other things that are alerts to keep you on track and keep you focused. All of these things are standard on modern cars these days and modern vans. So if you're having to maneuver around the inner cities, the Ford Transit turning circle is pretty good. I do like the fact that I can spin it around pretty much on a sixpence, obviously not in the actual road, but a 10.9 meter turning circle for the L1H1 version is a very good result. In terms of visibility, you have pretty good visibility with the Ford Transit. The mirrors are really good. There's a sort of a second low down wide angle element to the mirrors, and that really is quite useful. They're good solid mirrors, they do a great job, and you generally got good all-round visibility. The B pillar doesn't get in the way too much, or the A pillar I should say. It's quite slim and unobtrusive. Generally speaking, a really good all-round view of the road. So I thought I'd just give you a great visual picture of parking underneath a 2 meter parking height restriction barrier. But of course, it was at 1 meter 85. And 1 meter 85 would cause me a problem, because I'm at 1 meter 968 millimeters. And I remember that because it's the year of my birth, 1968. So 1968 mil will get you into most 2 meter car parks, but every now and again you'll find one that is smaller, and so if you see 1.85, you ain't getting in. So we're into Kirby Towers, into the office, to understand what the cost of running one of these vehicles will look like. Well, there are a variety of ways to buy, of course. You can buy it outright, and there are deals out there for as little as £31,000, despite a list price of £43,000. But also that's cheaper than the effective price of the diesel variant. So that means that you're getting incredible value. If you looked into the used market, you'd see them really good value. Also probably low 20s in terms of cost. There is still plenty of support, and those figures that I've quoted include the sort of grant that's available. You can also get a grant for a charger at home, or if you're using it as a work vehicle. Also, the cost of fuel is vastly different. So if you're running a vehicle 20,000 miles a year, give or take, you're going to be paying roughly £250 a month for your energy. If you're running an electric vehicle, you're likely to be paying something like £60 a month for your electric, which is amazing, right? That's if you've got a 10 pence at home or a commercial tariff per kilowatt hour. So it's important to know what your kilowatt hours are. Much less maintenance, of course, in one of these vehicles. So when you're hashing it all together, the total cost of ownership for electric vehicles is often a complete no-brainer. So that has been the workers edition of the E-Transit Custom L1H1 in the Trend variant. Clearly there are some really great value deals out there. Certainly in comparison to your petrol or diesel variants, this is good value. If a ton is enough, then this gives you everything that you need. There's a few options that you might need to add in order to get perfection, but at the end of the day, this is a great electric option and one that you should certainly consider. Have a great day, everybody.